Everybody say amen. Say amen. Say amen.
Prayed a lot to God during this time. And you know what? God did answer our prayers. He made the smartest men and women, the scientists, the doctors, the researchers. He made them come up with a vaccine. That is from God to us. 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 And we must say, thank you, God. Thank you. And I wear my vaccinated necklace all the time to say, I'm vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. All of you. Yes, I know you're vaccinated. You're the smart ones, but you know there's people out there who aren't listening to God and what God wants. You know this. You know who they are. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to be my apostles.
Let the church say amen. Mm-hmm. Let the church, everybody say amen. Say amen. Say amen. Say amen.
This is Hoppin Bob. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me. I'm tired, boss.
He said it's too hot, boss. He tired.
Too hot. He tired.
Uh-huh.
You tell that lazy jigaboo the state of Mississippi I ain't interested in his meteorological assessment.
Listen up, jigaboo. State of Mississippi ain't interested in your meteorological assessments.
You tell him the state of Mississippi is only interested in getting this here ditch cleared by sundown.
State of Mississippi want this here ditch cleared by sundown. You got that, boy.
Got it, boss. He don't sound like he from around here.
He from New York City, boss. He from New York City, boss. He from New York City, boss.
I've tested positive for COVID-19. I have the coronavirus. I learned this over the weekend. I got tested 3 times last week prior to the weekend, and I had tested negative. I tested negative before I departed from LA. I tested negative when I arrived in LA. I tested negative when I got back from LA. But then I had a minor, an ambulatory procedure, an endoscopy on a Thursday morning. And then that evening, you know, I came down with a little fever and what have you. And then Saturday afternoon, I learned that I have COVID-19. So I've tested positive. That is why I have been out. That wasn't why I was out Thursday and Friday, but that's certainly why I was out yesterday. It's why, in all likelihood, I'll be out the rest of this week. I'm definitely here today, but the likelihood is today's the only day that I'll be out, that I'll be on the air. I'm feeling fine, mild symptoms. Thank God I was vaccinated. Thank God I got the Pfizer vaccine, 2 shots a few months ago. I didn't get the booster shot as of yet because I had the surgery, the minor procedure to do, but I will get the booster shot. But thank God I got the vaccine, because had it not been for that, I'd probably be much worse than I am right now. So I just felt that an obligation to just come on the air and to let everybody know what the situation is. I'll be back at work shortly. Next week I was on vacation anyway for the Christmas holidays, but starting the new year, I expect to be locked, loaded, and ready to roll. But I just wanted to let everybody know what the situation was. That's why my voice is a bit compromised, to say the least. Again, it's just mild symptoms. I had a fever for about 12 hours. Outside of that, pretty much nothing, just a little fatigue and what have you, and that's all that's going on.
Thank God. And Stephen A., the whole family's okay? Everybody's good, right?
Yes, so far so good. But you know, my siblings and what have you getting tested and all of that stuff. So, you know, hopefully everything's good. But so far so good.
So less than 24 hours after officially deciding to bring Kyrie Irving back as a part-time player, the Brooklyn Nets saw their roster become further decimated, with Kevin Durant and Irving entering the NBA's health and safety protocols on Saturday. The Nets roster has been crushed by COVID-19, with 10 players now in protocols, including Durant, Irving, James Harden, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Nets general manager Sean Marks did an about-face after saying on October 12th that the team would not have Kyrie as a part-time player, but would welcome him back when he complied, with New York City's vaccine mandate. Here's Sean Marks with more on this decision.
The overall environment has changed, as we all know, drastically. It's changed not only from the Nets, it's changed from our staff perspective, it's changed from our players' perspective, it's changed for what's happening outside of Barclays.
I'm excited to have Kyrie back. Obviously, he's an incredible player. No matter what capacity we incorporate him in, it's just positive for our group. We're putting an extra strain on a lot of our guys. So, he can help us, one, there, and two, with his talent, and it's an unused resource for us that we can lean on to help us navigate the season and, patch this thing together as we continue to face different adversities.
Stephen A., is this the right move to bring Kyrie back?
No, it isn't. I think it's a horrible move. I think it's a disgraceful move. I think that Nets ownership is incredibly disappointing, and I think that the league should intervene. I want to put this out there, and I want to be very, very clear about where I stand. I'm open to the league invoking its best interest of the game clause and mandating that everybody be vaccinated in some capacity. Now, I don't give a damn what you got to do, whether it's Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, whether it's talking to Aaron Rodgers and finding out what being immunized is all about, whether it's something that Kyrie is exploring with the Canadian government, whatever complies or that ultimately stipulates that you are indeed vaccinated. I think that is something that should be mandated. This is a global health crisis. This is a pandemic. Your privacy, your medical history and all of that other stuff, that's private. That's true. But whether or not you have COVID-19 is not a private matter when you have the ability to be contaminated. I wasn't out partying. I wasn't acting up. I didn't sit up there and overexpose myself to anything. This stuff can happen to you just standing in front of somebody's face, for crying out loud. And to have to watch the Brooklyn Nets reverse course and take this position is one of the most shameful things I think they could have ever done. And I'll go a step further. One of the last people in the world who's worth it is Kyrie Irving. Now, let me count the ways. Let me preface my comments by saying this. Kyrie Irving is a superstar. Kyrie Irving is box office. I would pay Kyrie Irving $50 million a year. He's worth it as a talent. I want to announce to the world today, I think that anybody who gives Kyrie Irving more than a one-year deal at a time are the stupidest people on the planet. He would never get another long-term deal from me because he can't be trusted. This man finds every excuse not to show up to work. This man finds every excuse under the sun not to play basketball unless he wants to. I'm not accusing him of not working hard. I'm not accusing him of being somebody that's not going out there, Tim Legler, and putting forth his due diligence to be in shape, to be ready. That's not what I'm accusing him of. I'm saying he believes people are beneath him. He believes he's the high road guy, that he looks down on people. It's his way. He wants to do things by his rules and regulations. He doesn't want to capitulate to anything. And he believes that anybody who does got something wrong with them instead of looking at himself. The Brooklyn Nets know this. And you would make this concession? I don't want to hear about bodies flying and as a result, you're trying to win a championship. And so, you know what? We need Kyrie Irving. Well, suppose you playing against a team that that plays in a city that has that mandate. Suppose that mandate is adopted by other cities. We can't rule out that possibility in the weeks and the months to come due to the Omicron and the Delta variant. We can't rule these things out. There's no telling what kind of stipulations or restrictions are going to be implemented in the days, weeks, and months to come that could potentially prohibit him from playing basketball. So at the end of the day, if you're the National Basketball Association, which I'm sure agrees with me, and you're the Brooklyn Nets in particular, to make this capitulation, to make this concession for him, who, by the way, was away from basketball for 10 months before coming back for 2 weeks last year, and then the riots at the U.S. Capitol took place, and he was traumatized and needed time away from basketball. Didn't get back the money, mind you. Didn't get back the money. Still expected to be paid. This is the Kyrie Irving that we're talking about. So for me, the fact that that they reversed course on this is egregious and disgusting, to be quite honest with you. But what makes it even more so that way is that they did it for him, because he's the last person in the world who deserves it. Not as a talent. As a talent, he deserves all of it. But as somebody who is trustworthy, hell no. He's the last person that you should make this kind of concession for. And the Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion, were ruled today. They made this decision.
This is Hoppin Bob. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me. You run afoul of Bob, you run afoul of me.
Stephen A., you laid out the case perfectly about everything that Kyrie Irving represents and why they should make this decision for him. So I'm just to add to it a little bit. Here's where I have such a problem with it. When you compromise your principles and your integrity as an organization for what you are supposed to represent and what this is supposed to be about and what team sports are supposed to be about. Because to me, from the beginning, to think that you could allow a guy to just show up, play on the road, not practice with you, not play home games, not be a part of everything that goes into the blood and sweat and the emotional investment that has to go into winning, to allow a guy to escape that and just show up and give you his 20 to 25 or 30 on a given night on the road to help you win some games, to me, from the beginning, was insane. And then when they stepped up and said, listen, if you're not all in, we don't want you around, I saluted them, I applauded them. It sounded like they were doing it for the right reasons because they had some sort of integrity about making that decision.
Say amen. Say amen.